But in one-day cricket, Lancashire were unstoppable, winning the Sunday League in 1969 and 1970 and being Gillette Cup champions in 70, 71 and 72, the first one against Sussex.
Whatever happens here this evening with the sun going down behind the Warner stand, the light fading a bit, but he's hit that, and he's been... No, it's gone over the top. I thought for one moment that John Snow got a hand to it at deep mid-on. It's gone for 4 runs, a beautifully hit shot, hitting it on the up.
I can remember Clive getting out rather early and coming and sitting down in the dressing room and virtually had tears in his eyes because he was desperate for Lancashire to win something. And him getting out, I think he sort of believed then, with him getting out, that the chance of winning it had gone. But the little man, Harry Pilling, became man of the match. He got 70 odd runs and won the game for us.
It's a fine shot, it's 2 runs, it's a winning hit. On come the crowd. They're going to be engulfed, they've got to rush for safety. Lancashire have done it.
Proudest moment of my time, because my mother and father were there. And my dad, he was one of these that used to go to Blackpool and Morecambe. That was his holiday. Yeah. And he'd never been to places like London, especially at Lord's. And to get them on of the match, you know, while they were there.
1971, Lord's and a second successive Gillette Cup final.
A fine blow, clearing mid-off. 4 more, I think. There we go. So Asif comes to his 50.
The second one against Kent was that when Bondi tripped over at extra cover and caught that stunning catch. I mean, that turned the game. Asif Iqbal was taking it away from us.
To me, he was one of the best that I'd bowled to. He was so quick on his feet. He knew that's where I was going to bowl and just came down the wicket and made the majority of them in full tosses.
Full toss dispatched with no trouble at all down to the tavern.
Yeah, he got into the 80s and Kent were only, you know, as people know, Kent were only wanting 30 odd or 40 to win, and he was going well, and it was a case of if he batted till the end of the game, they would win.
That's going to be 4 runs.
I don't think I expected to bowl it as wide as I did. It was just outside off stump. I expected to bowl it middle and off, and he just clubbed it, and I thought, crikey, here we are, wrong line, another 4, because I'd only 3 fielders on that side, on the offside, and Bondi took off.
You can't possibly see a better catch than that in a final. Look at the boys going up to Jackie Bond, the captain who took it. It's the end of Asif. Could that be the vital wicket fallen in the whole of the day's play? It falls at 197. Jack Bond leaping to his right, grabbing it one hand, rolling over, and Asif is out for a superb innings.
One of the best catches I think that I've ever seen, and I think if you can ever turn round to youngsters and say catches win matches, that definitely won Lancashire the match on that occasion in that final, because we went on from there. He was out, we had Pete Lever to come back and bowl. I remember him bowling somebody up the hill coming up the slope, and we went on, and then Clive running somebody out, Bernard Julian, and there were history, and it all stemmed from that particular catch.
1972 was to see the completion of a historic treble and a match that will always be remembered by those who witnessed it.
Well, hammered straight by Clive Lloyd, a superb shot, takes him to a personal 50, takes Lancashire past the 100 mark.
I think David Brown was bowling to me, and the point is that he'd bowl a couple on a fairly good length, and I sort of hit it over mid-wicket.
Immediately getting the treatment from Clive Lloyd, 1 bounce into the crowd, on the front foot.
He bowled it again, hoping, well, it must have been a fluke, and it went there again.
And that's surely gone into the crowd. So 4 followed by a superb 6. And David Brown will have to pitch it a little further up to this man.
Bob Willis steamed in, but the big fella played magnificently. It was a Lara type innings, if you like. He was absolutely brilliant.
74 needed, 17 overs to go. Magnificent stroke again.
it was a special day in the sense that we had 3 other colleagues of mine on the other side, Rohan Kanai, Lance Gibbs and Cali Turan. So it was my skills pitted against their sort of thing, you know.
And that could be it, it is. And what a great 100 this is from Clive Lloyd. One of the finest innings ever seen on this ground.
We came out winners, so it was special in that respect. And at the same time, at the West Indies, I was out of favour with them. Really, I wasn't in the. For some reason, they didn't think I would be a top-class cricketer. I wanted to prove to them too. And funny enough, again, our president of the West Indies Cricket Board was there watching the final. And after I'd made the runs and so on, he said, "Oh well, I must go back and tell them, you know, how well you've played and so on." I said, "No, you don't have to." Really, I was quite happy where I was. I would have given up Test cricket and just played for Lancashire.
Here's Clive Lloyd out, 126. And what a magnificent innings it must be. One of the greatest innings ever seen on this ground in any type of cricket.
Well, Jack Bond retired on a high following this triumph, and I took over as captain for the following season. The first year I felt that we did okay. We certainly got to a semi-final, and although we got bowled out for 139 at Old Trafford, and this was against Worcester, we fielded and bowled like tigers.
Out, a great catch. David Lloyd, a brilliant diving catch there at square leg.
Lead to Brain. He swung it away and he's caught. A beautiful catch. What the time to pick up a catch. David Lloyd, the captain, taking it. The boys on the field. The hats in the air. What a finish. What a tremendous finish.
And we got them 139 for 9. And they went through, would you believe it, on a leg by, and again, would you believe it, by our now marketing manager, Jim Coons.
Yes, Worcestershire have won this match. The reason being, of course, that Lancashire were all out. They lost all 10 wickets. Worcestershire have only lost 9.
We got to the Gillette Cup final yet again in 1974, this time against Kent. It was a rain-interrupted match, a very low-scoring affair, and Kent won that one. But again, we were back in 1975, this time against Middlesex. Middlesex batted first, and it was a modest total of 180. We tottered a little bit. We were about 73 for 2, as I remember, when Clive came to the wicket, and Clive played a Clive knock and some glorious shots. I was stood at the other end just watching proceedings and thoroughly enjoying it.
A great shot. Well, that's 2 shots in this over that will live in the memory to take us through the next winter. It's 4 runs. Good shot from David Lloyd. And there it is, 4 runs. And Lancashire have won the 1975 Gillette Cup final.
But although we won the game, there were still rumblings in the dressing room, and even a player's strike. I found it very difficult. I couldn't handle that side of things. I felt that as captain, that my job was out on the field, dictating tactics, changing the bowling, moving the field. With hindsight, I perhaps should have given the team a better lead in negotiating things relating to pay, etc. I was no negotiator. I'm sure that I was far too young to do that sort of thing, and I found that a little bit uncomfortable. Things didn't work out too well, and at that time I just wasn't enjoying it. And yet we were back again at Lord's for the 1976 final against Northants. Again, we had big problems. We were put into bat, and the plan was, at his instigation, that Farouk Engineer would open the batting. He had this theory that John Dye was quite hittable over the leg side, and he kept saying, "I will hit this man, I will hit this man." Well, he didn't hit him very far. He was bowled through his legs for not many. We also lost Berry Wood as well with a broken finger, and we didn't get nearly enough runs, not until the last over.
And that's a little bit more like the David Hughes. It's the last ball of the over. Is it 6 more? It's another enormous shot. Straight 6, 3 sixes in this over too, David Hughes. Has he done it then? Has he done it again for Lancashire? He's taken them through to 195. He remains undefeated on 39 at the end. A great performance again by David Hughes.
Barry Wood broke his thumb, you recall, and he couldn't bowl, and that left us a bowler short, really. And we ended up getting done in next to the last over, and Northants had never won anything for 100 and odd years. That was their first tournament victory.
After a very disappointing and unhappy season in 1977, Frank Hayes took over as captain. But the success that the club had had previously was very, very elusive, and nothing changed really. Jack Bond was appointed manager in 1980, with Clive Lloyd as captain in 1981. But the winning habit had been forgotten, and this was exemplified by our 1981 NatWest semi-final against Northants. The game got down to the last two Northants batsmen at the crease, Jim Griffiths and Tim Lamb. They needed 12 to beat us, and 12 to these two, it was like 300. They couldn't have got anywhere near us. I remember distinctly that I was fielding out on the boundary, I think somewhere at deep mid-wicket, and people in the crowd were saying, well, we'll see you in the final, can you get us any tickets? And I was quite jocular about it. I was saying, yeah, do you want two? I'll get you three, and so on. I'll see you down there, hope it's a lovely day. But somehow the score kept going up. It was a leg by here and a little nick there, and nothing really scored in front of the wicket. And we tended to get a little bit edgy. It meant that I had to bowl the last over. I say that because Stephen O'Shaughnessy, who was in the side primarily to bowl, had got a touch of the yips, and I bowled this ball. It just pitched outside leg stump and it spun big.
And it's a bye. That beat everybody. Northants win by 1 wicket.
From the older end, and I class myself and Jack Simmons amongst those, this was our last chance, we thought, to get into one of the big time finals, and that left a big scar.
The next time we got to Lords was a Benson's final in '84 when John Abrams was captain. That was a tremendous day, really. But it wasn't one particular all-round performance that won it us. It was a good team performance.
John Abrahams was Jack Bond's surprising choice as captain in the absence of Clive Lloyd on West Indies duty.
To be fair, we'd been in 3 semi-finals in the cup competitions and not got through. Then in 1984 everything seemed to go well. There was a very good team spirit. The feeling was brilliant. People tended to play for each other. Everybody wanted to do well for each other, which was very good. We were a fairly young side, which obviously benefited the one-day game. And then we were lucky enough to get to the 1984 Benton and Hedges final and beat Warwickshire in that.
We annihilated Warwickshire. Absolutely annihilated him, but it was a great period for me. I'd just taken my career best in Test match cricket, 6 for 61 against the West Indies at Headingley. I took 3 for 18, and Warwickshire were just absolutely annihilated. That was a marvellous day, it really was.
What a catch! Caught and bowled O'Shaughnessy. And this Lancashire fielding has been absolutely magnificent. Gone again, and Lancashire right on top now.
So much depending on Alvin Kalicharan, who's 70 not out at the moment, facing Jeffries. And who's gone too. So that's the critical blow, really. That's the one that Lancashire have been hoping for, the end of a fine innings from Alvin Kalicharan. He goes for 70, and Warwickshire now 132 for 7. And it's all over. Bob Willis holds out a very simple catch to mid-off. Paul Allott takes his 3rd wicket, and Warwickshire have been dismissed here for 139.
A total of 139 was never going to tax the Lancashire batsmen unduly, and Hughes and Fairbrother eased to a comfortable victory with many overs to spare.
Peter May, bless his heart, who was chairman of selectors at the time, nominated me as man of the match despite having scored naught and not bowling. But it was one of those days where I think it was a generally good team effort, and I think that was the reason behind, and one of the main reasons behind him awarding it to me.
Lancashire were back at Lords again in 1986 for the NatWest final against Sussex, this time under the captaincy of Clive Lloyd.
And out comes the great man, what maybe his last ever innings on this ground. A standing ovation from the pavilion and right around the ground.
At Lord's, it seems to, you know, they remember things a lot there. And I didn't know it might have been my last game, but it was.
That's out. Now there is joy for the Sussex men. They know that they're in with a real chance now.
Going out was excellent. Coming back was a little bit disappointing. The only thing I'm sorry that we didn't win the game. That's just the unfortunate part. Dermot Reeves, yes, bowling those little mediums. Those are the people that I always found problems with, actually. You don't know where to hit them.
Another success for Dermot Reeves. What a morning and now afternoon he's had in this NatWest final.
Paul Parker and Imran Khan played with great assurance and Sussex cruised to victory. The game was to have great implications for Lancashire cricket as Clive Lloyd resigned and then Jack Bond and Peter Lever were sacked the very next day in response to a bottom six finish in the Championship and the Sunday League, plus a defeat by Scotland in the Benson and Hedges. I wonder if it'd have been that way if Lancashire had have won the game.
I don't know, I think I'd probably still have got the sack, but it turned out to be the best for Lancashire and probably the best for me that, you know, I left the club at that particular time.
This was another period of upheaval as Cedric Rhodes was forced to resign as chairman following a threatened vote of no confidence from the members.
Maybe a few months earlier he could have said now is the time to go. As it happened, there was a little push and which forced his hand a little bit.
The committee, perhaps hopeful for a parallel with the appointment of Jack Bond as captain, again turned to a man whose career was virtually over.
The first team were having a hard time in '86, and I had young players coming in and saying, we don't want to be picked for the first team. I was 38 then. It wasn't a universally popular decision to give me the captaincy. They thought it was another mistake Lancashire had made by bringing somebody on that was really played a full year in the second team. Anyway, I had that philosophy that I wasn't going to have the captaincy at that age for very long, and what I wanted was to get people around me that wanted to play.
The turnaround was startling. Second in the county championship in 1987, third in the Sunday League in 1988 caused an air of optimism and confidence to sweep through the county, and success finally came in 1989.
We'd had 3 games. We had to win one of the last 3 to win the Refuge League, and we'd lost 2. And it came to the crunch, the last game against Surrey. We had to win that. Got to the last over, we lost a load of wickets, and I was at the crease. 6 runs off the last over to win the league.
Here we go. He's carved that away, it's high in the air, it may be 6, it's 6! And Paul Hallett has done it, and what a way to finish! That is absolutely fantastic!
I stopped and did a sort of semi-jig come high-five Mary and Austin, who was my partner. There's still a crater out there in front of the pavilion, I think, where we nearly fell over. That was marvellous. And that was our first big trophy after the resurgence in the late 80s.
Next 2 major finals at Lord's were in 1990, when we became the first team to win both the Bensons and the NatWest in the same season. They were just powerful performances. The Benson Hedges, we totally demoralised Worcester. We'd won it with 20 overs to go. It was a canter.
The first one against Worcester, I have good memories of because I was fortunate to get the man of the match in that particular game. And it's something you can look back on in years to come and get a team sheet out, and you can see Graham Mick, Ian Botham, Wazim Akram, Philip de Freitas, Mike Latherton, and for you to be the best player out of those, you know, 5 performers on that day is something you can remember for a long time.
Lancashire got off to a terrible start in that final, losing 3 early wickets, but a 50 from Watkinson and useful contributions from the lower order pulled the innings round.
We were fortunate that all our bowlers were fine batters as well, and they would go in and give it a belt down the order. Allotts and Simmons, they'd give it a good crack, and we were very confident that if we lost a few wickets, then the Thunderbirds, as we call them, the International Rescue Act down the order, they would come in and get the runs.
Then a devastating burst from Wasim Akram with a new ball set up a comfortable victory.
Oh, threw him and got him. Absolutely, there's a big blow for Lancashire and for Worcestershire. Got him. Another wicket. Austin goes, gets the wicket of Phil Neal, and now Worcestershire really in trouble. 87 for 5.
And down goes the bail. Ian Botham has gone. De Freitas has got him.
We won both one-day trophies in 1990. We beat Worcestershire in the Benson Hedges final and beat Northants in the NatWest final. And I think to win both was proof that we were about the best one-day side. Over that period, late 80s, early 90s, I think we were the best one-day side in the country by some stretch.
All over. Radford left, not out 26. Lampett goes to 4, and the Benson Hedges Cup is well and truly Lancashire's.
The NatWest final was another rout. In helpful conditions, Philip de Freitas was unplayable, and his 5 for 26 destroyed Northamptonshire and ensured that the match was all but over by lunch.
LBW given to Philip de Freitas. There was a good delivery. Well done. What a morning for de Freitas. And I suppose what a morning for Northamptonshire, because they now are 20 for 3.
Oh, he's gone this time. Indeed he has, and de Freitas, what a morning he's having. Well, that is close, and he's given him. He's given him, and well, de Freitas now. Nobody can ever get all 10 in one-day competitions, can they? He's got the first 5.
Chasing a modest total of 171, a virtuoso display from Neil Fairbrother led Lancashire to a crushing victory with 86 balls to spare.
He's given that a bit. Smashed it away through extra cover. Cracking shot. Straight over the top. Nice way to reach the half-century.
Another big hit, straight over Cook, straight into the crowd. Beautifully picked up by Fairbrother.
That was at 1990. There was nobody could touch us in one-day cricket really that season. I think we were second in the Sunday League as well. But the Benson Hedges NatWest, we went out to crush everybody we played.
Well, there's 4 of them, or is it 6? It is, in fact, 6, and what a way to finish. Watkinson and Atherton congratulate each other. They win. Jubilant.
There was an air of invincibility about us. We were confident that any score that was scored against us, we could attain. And then again, if we batted first, we got into the situation where we'd just score more runs and we'd put the other side totally out of the game.
The following season was a disappointment by comparison, coming second in the Sunday League and losing in the Benson and Hedges final to Worcestershire. Neil Fairbrother captained the side that day because David Hughes had decided to drop himself.
I suppose that was one of my poorer decisions, I suppose with hindsight. A lot of people have said, why on earth did you not play in that? But I decided not to. We weren't playing particularly well at the time, and we needed either an extra batter or an extra bowler, and I stood down and we ended up getting done.
Fairbrother delayed the introduction of Akram until Graham Hick had played himself in, and he went on to score 88, which proved the backbone of the Worcestershire total of 236. The Lancashire response never gathered any momentum as wickets fell regularly, and Worcestershire ran out very comfortable winners indeed. Gradually, the invincibility of a few years earlier was being replaced by fallibility. And although the county returned to Lords in 1993 for the Benson and Hedges final against Derbyshire, it was to end in ultimate, nail-biting disappointment.
Frankie Griffiths ball in the last over, and Neil Fairbrother, who you would back to smack a medium pace bowler out of the park when he's about 70 or 80 not out, and this bloke went and bowled 6 brilliant Yorkers, and we've failed on that occasion.
And Derbyshire win. First time they've won this Benson and Hedges competition. And what a fine effort from Frank Griffith.
But once again, there is great optimism at Old Trafford as a new group of talented young cricketers are determined to add to Lancashire's roll of honour, not least the England captain.
It's obviously a very proud moment whenever when you're made England captain. It's the highest honour in the game, particularly to walk out at Old Trafford as an England captain.
Mike Atherton and Jeff Puller are the only Lancashire players to score Test hundreds at Old Trafford, and Atherton is one of the many reasons for the current mood of optimism at the club.
The talent's there. I think we're as talented a staff as any around. I think we've got the right age group this year. We've got people in their mid-late 20s who've got enough experience but are still young enough, to stay fresh through the season.
We've gone too long at Lancashire not winning the county championship, and I think that has to be instilled in the players now. We've got a good squad, a little bit of experience, a lot of youth, but that youth in the side is experienced, and I think before the turn of the century Lancashire should win the county championship.
If you look back over the history of Lancashire County Cricket Club, there is one match above all others that epitomises the heart, the drama, the passion and the success that has characterised over 130 years of history. Of course, it's the 1971 Gillette Cup semi-final versus Gloucester in the dark. Mike Proctor's superb 65 in Gloucester's total of 229 has almost been forgotten in the ensuing drama, but it laid the foundation for a score that was more than satisfactory for the times.
Again, a magnificent shot, gave himself room for that and able to hit it square. And you couldn't see a ball go through the offside quicker than that. Now he comes in and bowls to Proctor. Once again, given himself room, he's actually placed it superbly for another 4. Powered through enormous power, gone straight through little Harry Pilling. 4 runs, 50 to Proctor. And my word, he's getting a great hand from the locals here. They love good cricket up here, and this has certainly been good cricket from Proctor.
An hour was lost to rain at lunchtime, and the Lancashire innings reached its climax in dramatically worsening light. Jack Simmons joined Jack Bond at the wicket with the score perilously placed at 163 for 6.
Good shot. It's cultured off drive. It looks as though Proctor is going to come and join the attack. He's still got 4 overs left to bowl.
I can always remember Dickie Bird and panicking because of the dark, and Arthur Jepson was the other umpire who was senior and just said, bugger off back, Dick, we're finishing this game no matter what you say, and he did.
Tremendous scenes here. Proctor in again. That's the bouncer. A brave hook shot by Simmons in the gathering gloom brings him a single. He couldn't have seen too much of it. 22nd wanted of 7 overs. John Mortimer to come in for his 10th over. He's bowled him. So they're continuing, but that was a brave, noble effort by Jack Simmons. 25, looking to get him a victory as quickly as possible tonight.
Then, in came David Hughes.
He couldn't do anything for a couple of overs. He just couldn't pick the ball up from the seamers. And Mortimer was coming on to bowl his final over, and I said to Bondy that, we've got to maybe have a go at this fella now.
Come down the wicket, I've no idea. Yes, I have. Yes, gone through extra cover for 4. That swung away, could be 6. A tremendous blow by David Hughes.
Looking at the film, I noticed the kids of Manchester had shoved the rope in about 20 yards. So really what you might have thought were big hits. I only just cleared the end of the square with them.
Mortimer again. Challenge accepted, fine off drive. This won't find the boundary. Bissocks is there. They're coming back for the second. He's come again. Is he going to be safe this time? Yes, he's found the gap. Bring him 2 more runs. Tremendous scenes here at Old Trafford. Lancashire still out there. 11 wanted to win. There's certainly 4 more of them there. A magnificent cover drive by Hughes. 10 minutes to 9 in gathering gloom. 7 runs, wanted for victory. Still 4 more overs. John Mortimer in. He's going down again, and that's 6. A magnificent shot. A superb effort this by David Hughes. That's bringing the scores level. And David Hughes, a hero of the hour at Old Trafford. And there it is. That's the winning run. And just look at these scenes. Who's the fastest man? It's David Hughes. He's off halfway into the pavilion.
Memories from an incredible era in the history of Lancashire County Cricket Club. Whether it be championships or one-day finals, not many clubs can boast our record of success. There is a genuine feeling of confidence that the players are about to embark on another triumphant period for this great club.